Yo guys, what's going on? Color the Card guys. I'm joined by Nick Bradish. You actually just got 8th place here at the Tallahassee Regional with Zing Metalfoes. Why'd you play this deck, man?
Because I have no idea. This deck sucks. Don't play it. It's one of the more fun decks in the meta to me right now because when you combo off, there's nothing you can do. I took the Max C challenge. The guy drew 19 cards and he still couldn't break my board.
Oh, against Tobias, yeah, I saw that.
I mean, it's just, if you get, the deck is really powerful as long as you can get going. Sometimes you can get going on the first turn, sometimes it takes 2 turns to get started, but as soon as you get started, there's not a deck in the meta that can touch it. But the problem is either slowing down your opponent to match your pace for the first few turns, or being consistent enough to combo off on the first turn every game. And that's where the deck building side of it comes in, and that's where the luck side of it comes in. I won all my matches today except for one. It was the ABC matchup, but I lost because I didn't see a Zing floater either game, so I couldn't play Yu-Gi-Oh! Other than that, the deck played really well all day.
Awesome, let's see what you play.
Alright, well, really small Metalfoe engine, 2 of every Metalfoe except for 3 of copies of the Steelin. The reason being that I play 2 Painful Decisions and 3 Pot of Desires. And Steelin is the only Metalfoe that's searchable with Painful Decision that is also an 8 scale. So I wanted an extra copy so that way if I banish one with Desires, I could still search for the 8 scale with the Painful Decision.
Of course.
So that's it for the Metalfoe monsters, just 2 of each except for the 3 Steelin. The Zings are really self-explanatory. You want 3 of each of the tuner because Chewin allows you to make plays on your opponent's turn, and Jihado sets up your OTK or FTK play. You only want to play 1 copy of Plow, Towdy, and Zafraxi. Reason being, Zafraxi is important for the combo, but drawing him is one of the worst cards to draw in the deck. You can't Pendulum Plow, so you don't want to draw too many copies of Plow. And Towdy you have to Tribute Summon, so if you're stuck with just him in your hand, you have to waste your Pendulum just to get him out, which I've done it before, and it's worked, but it sucks. Then 3 of the rest of the Zings. This is by far the best Zing in the deck besides the tuners. The level 6 Pendulum, he looks like a retarded donkey, but he's actually really, really good because you can search out the counter trap. And then yeah, 3 of each. You want to play 3 of each of the Fires and the Earths because the Fires combo with the Chewins and the Earths combo with the Jihados to make the level 5 Synchro, the Denglong, which is the 2nd best card in the deck after the counter trap. And then 3 copies of the Vixie just because you want more Zing names and more Zing floaters. You absolutely need to see a Zing floater in your first hand. If you don't, you lose. It's that simple. So that's it for the monsters. It's 30 monsters. It's a 50 card deck. I used to play it at 60 cards, but I actually took out the Solemn Brigade, Guiding Adrienne, or Ariadne, and 2 Eccentric Archfiends, a Torrential Tribute, and a something else for consistency purposes. The idea being you want to see 3 Zings in your opening hand. So I'm playing 30 Zing cards and 20 other cards, 15 of which are Metalfoes. So to keep the ratio as 3 in your opening 5 cards, you want to keep it around 60%. So 60% of the deck is Zing, or has the word Zing in its name.
Awesome.
That's it for the monsters. 30 monsters. 3 Zing Path, Pot of Avarice. You can also ditch, and remember Jihado's effect says ditch 2 Zing cards, not Zing monsters, so you can use this as a name for the Jihado effect. 1 Metalfoe Fusion because it recycles itself. 2 Painful Decision. I found that 3 was cloggy if you draw 2 copies, so I opted for the 3rd Steelin rather than the 3rd Painful Decision. Double Dark Hole because it's a searcher for Jihado, and it also clears problems like ABC Dragon Buster, Full Metal Alcahest, and Toad. 3 Pot of Desires is almost necessary for the deck. It's not completely necessary for the deck, but if you have it, you will never want to run a deck without it again, trust me. And 2 Mystical Space Typhoons to clear away your opponent's anti-spells or vanities, emptinesses, or pop your own combination to start going into your combo if you need to draw a Metalfoe. Traps are really simple. 3 of the counter trap. This is by far the best card in the deck. It negates and shuffles back into the deck. It doesn't destroy. And after that, you destroy a Zing card. Your Zing doesn't miss timing as long as this is the 2nd card in the chain. So if you're activating it as chain link 3 or higher, your Yang Zing can miss timing, but for most situations, it's more than good enough. One Yang Zing creation because it's a Yang Zing name, no other reason. I've considered cutting it, but running it at 1 copy enables plays on your opponent's turn, which is really good. And then 1 counter and 2 combination. 2 combination is necessary. The 1 counter is optional. I like to play it because I wanted a 4th target in my deck for my Metalfoes, but it's not necessary for the deck to function.
Okay.
So that's 50 cards in the main. Like I said, I played a 60 card version with Ariadne's, Eccentrics, and the Solemn Brigade. Ariadne's and Eccentrics combo really well with the deck because Ariadne can search out the Yang Zing counter trap, which allows you to have more Yang Zing cards in your hand to discard for Jahado's effect. And if you don't know the combo of this deck, I highly recommend that you look up a combo tutorial. If you want, I can show you the basic combo of the deck, but it takes a minute, so you'd have to bear with me. As for the extra deck, you only need 2 Denglong because this Denglong searches out your Pot of Avarice, your Yang Zing Path, so you can recycle it pretty easily. But this is by far the best synchro in your deck besides Baxia, which is probably going to get hit on the next ban list, sadly. Baxia is not only a card to break boards by shuffling, but it's also your OTK and FTK enabler. By popping a card on your side of the field, it doesn't have to be face up, you can pop your own Metalfoe stuff too, which is important to the combo, to bring back your tuners from your graveyard and continue to synchro. 1 Chow Fang, usually you make this with just light monsters in the Blue Eyes matchup or in the ABC matchup and completely shut down decks, but it also is really good in the Burning Abyss matchup if you make it with Jahado and Bixie, the level 2, the protection from traps. This card becomes a menace very quickly. Void Ogre is the next most used rank 8 in the deck. Sulkin and Crystal Wing. You make Sulkin by making 2 Baxias and then summoning the level 3 Pendulum from your deck. The level 3 Pendulum makes one of your Yang Zings a tuner, so you can make one of your Baxias a tuner, synchro 2 Baxias for a Sulkin, set a card and summon the Crystal Wing. Ignister was my next most used rank 8 in the deck. Beals is coming out for a Titanic Hope Harbinger. Number 38, the rank 8 Exceed, because sometimes you can make 2 Baxias, but you can't summon the level 3 Pendulum and make one a tuner, so you need something else to make them with, so they're not just stupid dumb Baxias floating in the middle of the field to get floated.
Yeah.
1 Yazi, because it's really good in the PK Fire Burning Abyss matchup, especially if you make it with a Beyond and the dude that protects from trap cards, Bixie. 1 Herald, because you can negate stuff and continuously recycle it with Baxia effect, and also it's a Macrocosmos for your, from hand or main deck, so if you make it with a Beyond and a Chewin, it acts as a 5th negate after your entire combo goes off. And then 2 Mithrilium, I play 2 because if you try and use one and they strike it, I can reuse it later by shuffling it back into my deck and just infinitely go off.
Yeah, okay.
That way it's not just a one-trick pony and one and done sort of thing. Side deck was completely useless. I only sided in 2 cards all day, System Down and Book of Eclipse for the ABC matchup, and for the Book of Eclipse would have came in against Tribute Stun or Toads, but that's all I sided in. If I would have played against Evil Swarms, would have sided in XYZ Encore or Flying Seas. Sorry. But other than that, the entire side deck is trash and is completely useless. This is what I played if you want to look, but I never used any of it. The only cards that I used, like I said, are the System Downs and the Book of Eclipse.
Okay.
So that's the deck. Do you want me to show the main combo of the deck?
Yeah, if you want to, go for it.
Alright, give me a second. So for the combo to work, you need any Metalfoe, doesn't matter what kind. Any Yang Zing floater, doesn't matter which one, as long whichever Yang Zing floater you draw changes the combo very, very slightly. If you start with a Chewin, it alters the second step, and if you start with a Jahado effect and then pop what you bring out with the Metalfoes, you'll see what I mean in a second. So you start with a Metalfoe and a dude, and 2 Yang Zing cards in your hand. It doesn't matter what they are. Let's just say they're 2 paths. So your Metalfoe effect, you normal summon your Yang Zing. This is where the problem with the deck occurs. If they have spot removal like ABC or Alcahest, they can just take this and you lose. But if this goes through, you win. So Metalfoe effect, pop your dude, set a combination. His effect doesn't miss timing because the set and the pop happen simultaneously, so you get to summon a Yang Zing from your deck, specifically Jihado. Jihado is the play enabler of the deck. You discard 2 Yang Zing cards to summon 2 Yang Zing monsters from your deck, one with 0 attack and one with 0 defense. So you always get the level 6, so you can make an instant Baxia, and I like to get a Chewin because you can load cards into the graveyard. Keep in mind this is a 4-card combo, so you still have 1 card in your hand. You Synchro for Baxia. Don't use Baxia Shuffle unless they have cards on their field. Baxia effect, target this, blow it up, and bring back the Jihado from your graveyard. Combination lets you search the other scale. It doesn't matter which Metalfoe it is, it's just the other scale. Then you activate the scale, use that scale's effect to blow up the Chewin, put it in the graveyard to set a Metalfoe fusion. Then Chewin's effect activates, summons the level 3 Yang Zing. Use the Pendulum monster in this case. You don't use his effect yet, because when he uses his effect, he goes to the bottom of the deck. So you want to be able to Synchro with him now, and then Pendulum him again, and Synchro with him again. So you summon him, but you don't use his effect yet. Synchro for Dingaling. Dingaling's his effect lets you search for the counter trap, for first copy of the counter trap. Now keep in mind you still have 1 card in your hand. If it's a monster, you Pendulum summon it with these 2. If it's a spell or trap, you wait for the end of the turn and set it. So you Pendulum 2, you use both their effects. He lets you search for another Yang Zing spell or trap, search for another counter trap, and he lets you make Baxia a tuner. Synchro with these 2. Remember, when he leaves the field after he uses his effect, he goes to the bottom of the deck. So you Synchro again into another Baxia. Denglong's effect triggers when it leaves the field, if it leaves the field, it does not miss timing and it works with Synchro summons. You summon a Yang Zing from your deck. I choose to go with Touty because he's 1, the biggest beater and you're setting up a board, and 2, you don't want to use your Beyonds or your Suwanis because you're going to use them on your opponent's turn to Synchro summon into either another Denglong or a Herald for an additional negation. Then you're going to use this Baxia's effect, which you just summoned, to pop your face-down Metalfoe fusion, to bring back Jihado from your graveyard. Whoa. Now, if you had another monster in your hand, you would have popped that other monster first, or summoned the Jihado from your deck with the Denglong effect, in order to adjust and account for what you just did. Synchro summon these 2 for a Void Ogre this time. You're done making Baxias and spamming the field, now you're setting up an unbreakable board. Synchro your 2 Baxias, because remember you made it a tuner earlier with the level 3.
Yeah.
For an Ultimate Sulkin. Set your hand, summon a Crystal Wing. Now if you're counting, that's 8,200 damage, and you've spun 4 cards off of their side of the field. You search for 2 counter traps, so if you're counting, that's 1, 2, 3, 4 negates, plus a Chewin in the graveyard, which allows you the option of one of 2 things. When you pop your Yang Zing with your 9 pillars, you can either summon a Suwani and your Chewin from the graveyard, use Suwani's effect to Synchro summon on their turn, go into another Denglong and search again for a path to set up for their turn, or you can summon the Beyond and the Chewin, use Beyond's effect to Synchro summon on their turn, and Synchro summon for a Herald, which gives you a 5th negation.
That's insane.
And remember, all that is 4 cards, and the only ones that are specific are you need to have any Metalfoe and any Yang Zing floater and 2 Yang Zing cards. Based on the ratios of the decks, statistics say you should get it most of the time. The times that you don't, usually you're trying to get as many of the counter traps as possible by synchroing into Denglong or special summoning the level 6, so you can stall out your opponent to the point where you can get this combo and win. So that's the deck.
Awesome, Nick. Well, any shout outs you want to give?
Shout out to my friend Excel Solo, who got 1st place at this regional. He rode with us today. Shout out to my other 2 friends, David and Michael, for scrubbing out and sucking. And then shout out to my homies in Compton. I don't know.
When does everything stop?
That's pretty much it.
Awesome, bro. Well, hey, congrats on that top 8, man. Crazy deck. Thank you for showing us the combo as well. I know a lot of people are going to learn from this too, and probably end up picking it up just because of that. So
pick it up soon because it's low in price right now, and it's Baxia is probably going to get hit on the next ban list because this deck is pretty cancerous. Squad.